Well, now it is time for our guests. Alexander Jean is a musical indie group featuring the husband and wife duo of dancer and choreographer Mark Ballas and singer-songwriter BC Jean. The duo recently dropped their newest single, Waiting for You, which is now streaming on all platforms. Please give a warm Build Brunch welcome to Mark Ballas and BC Jean.
We're good.
Good. So tell us about your new single, Waiting for You.
Well, it's more of a personal, I mean, we always have this, I think all of our music is very raw and honest, but this one even goes a little bit deeper. It's very truthful about the past, where we've been, failed relationships, to when we met, and growing together in love.
Yeah. And,
As cheesy as it
we
sounds.
would always say, we had so many mutual friends before we got together, and we used to hang out at all the same places. And we used to always kind of have this joke. How many times was I at the ATM where you were at the bar? Or how many times did I go to the table and say hi to a friend and you were sat there, and we missed each other so many times. And
Parallel lives.
Yeah, throughout the song we kind of talk about things we went through that were rough. Like I think that we all go through in relationships, and kind of the punchline is, who knew this whole time that I was waiting for you?
Oh, wow.
And I mean the opening line is kind of a a head turner.
We listened to it this morning, and we were like,
oh,
is this for real?
Oh, is that true?
Yeah,
Did you see the music video?
It's true.
You have to check it out. Yeah.
I'm thinking about it right now. You guys are barely wearing clothes on my mind.
What was that like to shoot with people around?
Well, oddly enough, that part was fine.
Okay.
But as much chemistry as we have in life, and on stage, off stage, in the bedroom, in the kitchen, wherever, we're not like that. That's not what I meant.
In the
But that's
kitchen.
okay.
Well,
It's okay.
No, she's saving herself.
We're married now. But we were fighting all day. It was actually a really high tension. We wanted to murder each other. It was a brutal day. It was really tough. We were stressed.
The
We
AC
barely
went out.
There was no AC.
And we
The
shot in
fog
LA.
machine broke. We had one day. We're independent. We're paying for everything ourselves. So we were just by the end of the day. And then I hadn't eaten because,
Nope.
you saw what I was wearing. So I was like, take me to In-N-Out right now by the end of the shoot. But it turned out beautiful. So
At the end, I was like, man, I hope we got it. But the heat kind of worked.
It
Right,
worked.
So
The
when we got
tension
to the edit,
worked.
It was exciting. Yeah.
Every time they said action, we were there.
Yeah. Oh, there you are.
Oh, hey.
There you are. This song is definitely a little darker and sexier than your previous work. So can you tell us a little about that tone shift?
Yeah, I mean, I think the cool thing about this is that the sonic area, the music, is a little brighter and a little bit more, it kind of thumps a little harder and hits you in the chest.
Yeah.
And I think if you were to strip away all the lyrics and kind of subject matter, you would hear the music and you kind of
It's more fun than what
it's more fun,
yeah.
and you would want to move along to it. But then if you were to just read the lyrics, as a diary entry, you'd be like, oh, they're talking about some stuff, some personal stuff. So that was kind of something interesting to us, was kind of the juxtaposition of having something that hits you kind of hard and makes you feel groovy and that you want to move, but then you're talking about real relationship stuff and
Stuff people can relate to.
Yeah.
I would think. I hope we're not alone on this.
Yeah.
going into our past and then going into things that even in our relationship that we're still working on, and things that we as humans are all kind of going through.
Yeah, we both were kind of, I think, a little bit bitter and brokenhearted from past relationships, and we had to become friends and learn to trust each other and learn to trust in love again. And I think that's the end of the message of the whole thing, is having your human, your person.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So when did you guys, when was the moment that you realized that you had a musical connection and you could form the band?
We didn't actually write a song. We dated for about a year and a half before
Yeah.
we even wrote a song together, because we were both doing our solo things. And every once in a while he would play with his band and I would jump on stage and do a cover song with him, and if I ever had a gig he would play guitar for me. And our friends and fans would always comment. They would say, wow, that moment when you guys were together, that was my favorite part of the show. And it was a constant chemistry thing. So a year and a half in,
it just kind of was part of the show.
we're not like, we're a couple, let's be a duo, that wasn't the plan. But Mark called me, he's like, babe, we should really write a song together. So we made it a date night, we sat on the couch, got a bottle of wine, and just the guitar, and did it old school with a pen and paper, just wrote a song from the heart. We didn't want to put ourselves in any sort of box or genre. And the song turned out really authentic and cool, and we weren't expecting that. We weren't expecting anything really. And it's good if you get writer's block. We know what to do. And then, we sat back and we still took some time, and every time we went and listened to it, we're like, wow, we should go record this. We'd record it. Then we were in the studio and we kept looking at each other. And I'm a tough critic. I'm really hard on myself and songwriting in general. It's hard to please me, I would say.
Yeah,
And we both looked at each other. We're like, this is special. There's something here.
Yeah.
So we just continued to write. And over the time and every vacation we'd go on, we realized we just kept getting more and more material. And then we just decided to put out an EP. And then our first song went to #1. And we realized, hey, maybe we're on the right track here. Maybe there's a reason why our solo careers didn't blossom into the way we wanted them to be, because we were supposed to do this together, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
And is that like usually your creative process? Do you guys have a date night, or like how do you separate your time? Or do you feel like you might get stuck to the point where you're like, we're always writing and creating music now?
Yeah, it's funny. Like we never. Well, now we never plan it. I'm more like, hey, let's do this at this time, and let's do this. Like I like to have a schedule, But BC's more of a mood ring, we say. So whenever we sit down to like, hey, let's write a song or let's do this, it doesn't usually happen. But like for instance, we'll be.
On a massage.
I'm always
laughing 'cause
practicing guitar and like playing in the front room, and then she could be cooking and like humming along, or
That's
she'll
the
write
best.
these little poems and she'll like leave them out, and I'll see it or. So it kind of just starts randomly around the house, and
Yeah, Mark follows me around with a guitar, literally,
I do.
and I just ignore him most of the time. And then sometimes when I'm
she'll
not,
be in the shower, be like,
yeah, I'll be like,
Like, are you having a fight? And he's like, "This is a great song. Let's write it down."
he's just constantly making guitar riffs and ideas. And then if he hears me singing something, all of a sudden he's got his phone recording me.
Right.
I'll be in the shower and I just see the phone like,
You're like, this is a grocery list.
pretty much.
yeah, but usually when it's unplanned.
That's where we come up with the best material, though.
Yeah.
I love that.
And your name, Alexander Jean, that comes from your
Yeah.
middle names, right? Which I think is really
Exactly.
interesting. So how is that thought process like?
I don't know. We just kind of.
We
Well,
tried
we-
some weird names. We
Right.
thought about it when
We
we were
had
like,
some
what should our
weird
name
names
be?
at first,
We
but,
wanted
like-
it to be like Greek name because we're both Greek,
Right.
and then no one could pronounce it because it's spelled differently than what it sounds. So I forget how we.
I think where we were
You
is like
saw
our
it.
IDs were overlapping.
Yeah.
I was handing our IDs to somebody.
Yeah.
And they were overlapping, and it kind of spelled out Alexander.
He's Mark
Jean, and I was
Alexander
like,
and BC
oh,
Jean. Yeah.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, good middle names.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I don't think it would work.
Thank you, parents.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But it's still, it's still like an educating process. People get
Yeah.
used to the name, and like, they'll say to me, "Hey, are you going to be at the Alexander Jean?"
Yeah.
show?" I'm like,
And then they call me
"I am
Alexander.
I am Alexander.
Yeah. They're like, Alexander to me. I'm like, no, that's it's okay though. Whatever. Yeah.
Also, it'd be a really great baby name.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just giving you guys ideas.
Yeah, just throw it out there.
Just like when you're ready.
There you go. There you go.
We're just a talk show that pressures everyone into having babies.
I love
It's
it.
just like our thing.
I love that.
So, Mark, you were in Jersey Boys on Broadway. Congrats, congratulations on that. But now you're finishing your run as Charlie Price and Kinky Boots this week.
Yeah,
So,
last week.
what has that been like? And also, what has that been like balancing also your musical career?
Yeah, I mean, the song came out, and then we shot the video while I was in rehearsals, and I'm doing 8 shows a week, which is
Yeah.
it's tough. It's a hard thing to do, and you have to stay incredibly disciplined, stay on your regiment.
Which he is.
Yeah.
He's very
I'm-
disciplined.
when I'm on something, I'm doing
Yeah.
it, So just being very diligent about warming up, warming down, and then also making sure I don't really talk
Steaming.
until 2 or 3, and I eat right, I swim every day. And then also when we've been, we played Rockwood Music Hall last week as well, so we had 8 shows, and then we had our own show.
Oh my
So I had to
gosh.
really
Yeah.
be it was awesome, great crowd.
It was great. It was
Yeah.
so much fun.
But yeah, just
You
really
don't talk
staying
until
focused.
2?
No.
Tries not to.
When do you wake up then?
Too.
I wake
Depends
up
on
at
it depends what time we go to bed,
Yeah.
but we're night owls.
So do you know you're just like, oh, I can't talk to him?
No, I mean he's not like Celine Dion doesn't talk to two, but
Yeah.
he definitely has to like she's has like but he'll be cautious because you have to be. I mean with that schedule you have to be or else you don't
That's
make it on
so
stage.
intense.
Yeah.
and the shows they're very different in the sense of with Jersey Boys, it's but there's a lot more songs that you're singing. There's 27 segments of songs, which is a lot, and they're short segments, but all in all, you're probably doing
Right.
15 full songs. Whereas when you're playing Charlie, you have 2 full songs, and then you sing in 4 or 5 other segments. But the acting role is just super nonstop. So,
And talking's actually worse for your voice than
Oh, really?
singing.
Oh.
and it's
Yeah,
an
it's a
emotional
breathing
part.
thing.
You go on all these ups and downs. You're upset, and then you're sad, and then So you have to be really diligent about when you like hit the gas, like in the scenes, because you can like burn yourself out. So you have to be really, really cautious.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
So you're becoming a Broadway pro, but is there any musical roles that you kind of dream of playing?
One of the other ones was to play Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar. I did it in London in a small production.
Yeah.
And but I've always wanted to do it on like the big stage. I went to music and theater college in the UK, and the thought of being on Broadway just seemed so far away. It never seemed realistic to me, and so being able to do it is a huge dream come true. But if Superstar ever came back, I would love to do another stab at
People
that.
are watching. Hey.
Or we want to write our
Us.
own at some point.
Yeah,
Oh.
we definitely
Write
talked
our own
about it.
musical, yeah.
Well, BC, you write, and you write really crazy good songs. Like If I Were a Boy. Sorry, I just like when I realized that you
Yeah.
wrote If I Were a Boy by Beyonce, I was
Which is-
like, oh my God, you've been doing this for so long.
Long time.
So is it more fun to write now for you guys, or do you still write for other artists
Well,
as well?
If I Were a Boy was written for me. It was I wrote it from a very personal place.
Yeah.
It was my first heartbreak. At the time, I was never expecting to be a songwriter for other people. Like, when someone said Beyonce heard the song and wanted to sing, I was like, wait, did Jay-Z break her heart? I didn't understand. I just thought you sang something you meant. You know what I meant? You know what I mean? So at that I don't know. It was just, yes, writing for myself is how I always look at it. Even if I am going to session with somebody else, I always have to find a way to connect to it or ask them questions to
Yeah.
get to their. Now it's a little bit different, but it's much more fun writing with each other
Yeah.
because it means so much. It's harder though because I'm really good at writing about heartbreak. So sometimes I'm like, come on, like fight with me, do something. Sometimes I have to pick a little fight. But
The thing that's great, we've been in so many sessions together, for our own stuff, and I've seen her working for other people, is that she is really good at like finding a way to ask you a question where it will resonate in a sense that it's easy to like identify with and to relate to, and kind of then she can pull from a personal matter and then write it in a non-selfish way so that everyone can kind of relate to it. And,
that's the goal, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the goal. Is like even if you're writing for another artist, you want to be able to write it in a sense where everyone can like
Yeah.
be together and feel like, oh man, like
Yeah,
I
there's a
feel
fine
that,
line. There's a
Yeah,
fine line
she's
of
really
like
good at that.
details, but still vague enough where people could make it into their own situation.
So
connect.
Mark, do you feel like she pulls that out in you then when you're?
Oh yeah,
writing
I
together?
definitely think what's cool is that we balance each other really well. Like on the
We do.
musical side and the production side and the sonic side. That's something that I find that fascinating. And I've been I
Yes.
started as a flamenco guitar player at age 9. My dad played flamenco, and that's what kind of got me into it. And then I discovered like grunge and rock, and I was in metal bands in school. I had like long crazy hair.
Guy liner.
It was definitely a phase. But yeah, like I've been playing for so long, and I love that kind of percussive side. So when it gets to the music, that's
He's more
kind of-
detail
That's where I
oriented
get
in that.
detail oriented.
He hears things that even dogs can't hear. Like he literally can hear. I'm like, what?
And then
It's amazing.
On the lyric side, she just really knows how to like dig deep, and it's taught me a lot to kind of like reach further down because that's hard sometimes.
Damn, you guys should get married. You guys are giving off like serious rock star vibes
Yeah.
too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're super cool. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
How much else